Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome biggity back to the channel. Today is part 2 to a multi-part series that we got going on where I give you 10 cars under certain price ranges. We started at 25k, now we're going down to 20k. Also there are going to be 2 honorable mentions, so technically it's 12 cars. And yeah, before we get into it though guys, I really want to remind you, just please remind you that SmoothStance hats, shirts, and shorts are going to be going live on www.smoothstance.com/shop on Monday, September 20th. So be ready. Monday, September 20th is the launch date. Super excited. I cannot wait. I hope you guys can't wait either. It's just going to be blessed. Also, just keep in mind, also, within all these lists, these are always going to be 10 different cars than any of the other ones. So that's kind of the whole point. So I'm trying to give you a bunch of different kinds of cars. Anyway, guys, let's get right on. All right, so coming in at number 10 is the Toyota Mark II. I don't know if this thing is a chaser or if it's a tourer. I don't know, but it's pretty much a chaser. They look like a chaser, and they came with a 3-liter inline 6 that makes 217 horsepower, and they were rear wheel drive, and that engine is indeed the same engine that's seen in the Supra, the 2JZ, except since they are naturally aspirated, it's the 2JZ GE and not the 2JZ GTE, because the GTE is the turbo one. I know it's a little bit confusing, but it's a 2J still. It can't handle nearly as much power, upwards of 600 before you need to start touching the internals, which is obviously not as good as the Supra, but it's still amazing. Like 600 horsepower is still really, really good. Either way, they still do pretty good when talking about power, and they do have enough when it comes to drifting. Like 600 horsepower is great for drifting, which is the reason why these puppies are seen drifting around the track all the time. They also do look a bit boring in my opinion, but they aren't meant to be a show car, so just keep that in mind. Number 9 is the Porsche 911 996, which is a lot of nines, and it comes with a 3.6 liter twin turbocharged flat 6, but I guess it's an H6. Don't ask me, it's the most confusing thing in the world. But anyway, it makes 456 horsepower, and they were rear wheel drive as well, but also they were rear engined, which makes for some pretty tough driving. You have to be a pretty skilled driver to drive one of these puppies. They did look really weird too, which is why they are the cheapest 911 out there. But if you don't care about looks at all, then this is a great bargain. They are a 911, which has always been one of the best track cars out there, and if you can get one for under $20,000, that is a freaking steal. Okay, that's like 20 grand and you got one of the best track beasts in the world. Just expect to be spending quite a bit of money on maintenance, since they break more than a freaking convict when given some Burger King in the interrogation room. They're a little unreliable, but they're a super car. Number 8 is the Volkswagen GTI Mark 7, which comes with a 2-liter turbocharged inline 4 that makes 228 horsepower, and it was front wheel drive, and it's such a good daily driver if that's what you're looking for. I mean, these cars and daily driving go together like subscribing to Mark Roden and getting females. I don't know where I was going with that, but subscribe. In all seriousness, they really are good for daily driving, but they also can be very fast little street cars if given the right mods. Some people just put on some bolt-ons and a tune, and they can get this car up to 350 horsepower easily, and that's pretty damn good, especially since these cars don't weigh too much. I think people commonly think that a car has to be fast right out of the gate, and that's not the case with a lot of German cars. These German cars honestly are a bit bigger tuners than the Japanese cars. Like, you can tune these Volkswagen GTIs to be something amazing. Speaking of German cars, number 7 is the BMW 335i F30, and they came with a 3-liter twin turbocharged inline 6 that makes 302 horsepower, and they were available in both all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. But most people just opt for the all-wheel drive version, which makes sense. I mean, they are an amazing daily driver if you can get the all-wheel drive version. Despite what people say, BMWs are extremely reliable as long as you get them without them being beaten on. And since these cars are still relatively new, they are not going to be beaten on just yet. Like, you can find one of these puppies sitting at a dealership with like 60,000 miles for 16 grand. And that's really, really good, considering the last owner definitely wasn't driving this thing like he stole it. You just got to be careful though, because once BMWs do get beaten on a little bit, that's when they start to get unreliable. On top of that, you get to roll around in freaking style. I mean, these cars look amazing. Everybody out there knows BMW is an expensive brand, and they always are really good at crafting wonderfully looking cars. Number 6 is the Subaru WRX STI Stink Eye, which comes with the Subaru's famous 2.5 liter turbocharged inline 4 that makes 300 horsepower on the dot. Since they haven't seemed to really improve that number over the years, they just keep it sitting at 300 horsepower, and they were all-wheel drive. These cars are legendary. I mean, everybody in the world knows about them by now, so you probably don't really need me telling you that they are really good for daily driving. But they're not just great for daily driving, they're also pretty good for racing as well. If you're going for a rally car, obviously this is your best bet, but if you're going for just a street car, they're still really good. Yes, they're a little bit on the heavy side, and yes, the engine is a little bit iffy when adding more boost to it, but it's still a good tuner car as long as you're smart. Like, if you mod this thing correctly, you can get so much power out of them. The STI is more of a race car than the WRX though, so if you just need a daily driver, I would personally save my money and buy the WRX. They're a lot cheaper and they're still loads of fun without having to worry about having so much money every time it breaks. For WRX better, buy one. They're also a lot cheaper, so it's probably a better option. They both do their jobs extremely well, and it's hard to say one is better than the other, especially since everything about them is exactly the same. Even the power numbers are only 1 or 2 digits away, and so it's completely your opinion. But with the Evos, I just like the looks of them. I think they look a little bit cooler, and it's sick to like know that you own a car that's just discontinued. There's not going to be any others out there. Third place, bronze medal, is the Chevy Camaro SS 5th generation, which comes with a 6.2 liter V8 that makes 426 horsepower, and it was rear wheel drive. Oh my goodness, and it had a freaking LS in it, baby. I don't even like muscle cars all that much, but I absolutely adore the LS. The LS is like the car guy's messiah. If you have an LS in your car, you got 1 million horsepower out of the gate. Don't let me tell you that you had 426. I was lying. It's 1 million. Anyways, this car is amazing. They're very reliable. LS in general is just very reliable. When parts break, it's actually really cheap, extremely cheaper than you would think, since there are so many LSs out there. They put LSs in everything. On top of that, they look really good. And besides Mustang owners, who doesn't like a Camaro? Like, you're going to be getting so much props if you own one of these puppies. They're fun. They're a little bit dangerous, but they're fun, and they look cool, and they have an LS. Okay, I can't get over that. They have an LS. Number 2, second place silver medal, is the 2012 model year Audi S5. I don't know what the chassis code would be for that, but it came with a 4.2 liter V8 that makes 358 horsepower, and it was all-wheel drive, since it's a freaking Audi, and they just love to make their cars all-wheel drive. It's like the only thing that they do, and these cars are just a combo of everything that's good within a car. They have good power out of the gate. It's not the best power for sure, like we just talked about the Camaro, which had 426. That's a lot more horsepower. But if it's not enough, they're easy to get power out of, which I like, and 358 horsepower for a first car is plenty. They look extremely luxurious while also looking pretty sporty too, so people know it's still a cool car, and they have all-wheel drive, so you can actually drive the car year-round if you need to. Also, on top of that, I looked at when I saw one of these in person, I fell in love with it, so I just had to put it in the list. It looks amazing. Like, if in pictures it won't look that good, but if you actually see an S5 in person, your jaw's gonna hit the floor. They look really good. Alright, so now it's time for the 2 honorable mentions before we get to the first place. And first off is the Maserati Ghibli. They're luxurious cars that are more meant for the kind of guy who just wants to take it slow in his luxury Maserati and impress all the ladies. Expect to spend a very pretty penny on this one though. If you do buy it, maintenance not going to be cheap. It's a Maserati. They're not like the coolest cars in the world, but like I said, if you're into like the luxurious style of things and just being comfortable while you're driving, a Maserati Ghibli is your best bet for under 20k. And second is any 1000cc motorcycle, which I literally just love. I mean, this is the only vehicle on this list that you can buy brand new for the price that we're given, 20 grand. And on top of that, you get the fastest vehicle on this list while arguably being the most fun. But the only reason why I couldn't put it in this list is because they are extremely, extremely dangerous, and they're literally just toys. And finally, first place, number 1, gold medal Usain Bolt of this list, is the first generation Cadillac CTS V, which comes with a 6.2 liter V8 that makes 556 horsepower. Holy mother of sweet Jesus, and they were rear-wheel drive. And yes, they came with the Corvette Z06 engine in them, not just a boring old base model Corvette. No, the Z06 Corvette engine was in these cars, which is just mind-blowing. This car is definitely the cheapest way to get yourself in a extremely fast drag car right off the line. I mean, you throw some slicks on this car, maybe some cams and a little bit of weight reduction, and you're chilling at under a 10-second quarter-mile time. They are so fast. They also look extremely cool too, if that's what you're into. And the new gen CTSVs are even better than like the ones that we're talking about right now. I'm not going to get into it because that's not what we're talking about, but geez, look them up. They're great. They also aren't a massive cop magnet either, since to the normal public they just look like a daily commuter, but to us, we know that there's a little angry little sucker underneath that hood. I don't know, I love these cars. On top of like all that stuff that I just said, the only bad thing I can think about of the car is that they're a little bit heavy. They're a little bit heavier than the Corvette, but you do a little bit of weight reduction and you're chilling. They're also not like the best handling car in the world either, but the CTSV was not meant to be a handling car. On top of all that though, in order to make up for both those things too, not only does it have the Corvette engine in it, but since it's a Cadillac, it's still extremely comfortable too. It's the best of all worlds. I just had to put it at first place. But that is the end of this list. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, come on man, you already know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. No? Okay, that's fine too. You don't have to. It's all right. It's a free country. You can do what you want. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Be on the lookout for Monday, September 20th, because SmoothStance hats, SmoothStance shirts, and SmoothStance shorts are dropping then. Okay, they're dropping on the Monday, September 20th. So be ready. www.smoothstance.com/shop. I'm going to mention it every day from here until then. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I love each and every one of you guys. Thank you for all the support I've been getting. Check me out on TikTok because we're blowing up on TikTok right now. It's just SmoothStance. And yeah, that's what Danya. Have a nice day.